But certain things I'd looked at, and the difficulty that I came across was there were certain teachers, and I don't want to label them or put names on people, but they were saying that really there's nothing you can do, that it's energy, there's nobody there, and really that if you wake up it's by chance, but there's nobody there to wake up. And I thought, I felt quite deflated. I thought, oh God, so I could be doing all this for sort of till the end of my life, not wake up, or I could just be going to shop. And I thought, this is going to, if this was the first thing I'd seen in non-duality, Nurit, I would have been quite disturbed, if I'm being honest. There's nothing you can do. You're not there. You're laughing because I know you know what I mean. And I thought, you're the perfect person for me to ask. And your video came up, which was saying similar thing, but there was a fundamental difference. And that's why I left you the message. And I wanted to just ask you firstly about that, because I think loads of people have struggled with that, like I have.
Yeah, I would have struggled with that big time. Somebody told me I don't exist. Well, I said, well, sayonara. What am I doing here? I don't
exactly, yeah.
Give me a refund.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that too. My husband and I go and look at things on Facebook that we see all kinds of quotes, and it's very tricky. It's a very tricky thing, because for one thing, well, there's two ways that I look at it. As you know, I've been on a path for a long time, and have been fooled by many teachers.
Yeah.
And having gone through this COVID period, well, we're still going on, this COVID period, not just mine, but everybody's. I started doing a lot of research, medically, politically, scientifically, historically, and what I'm finding is a tremendous amount of deception. And it's like everything has been inverted. Everything is the opposite. We've come to this world as pure beings, and we've all had incredible experiences as children, and incredible insights as children, and inspiration and creativity as children.
Yeah.
Because we've come straight, and we have not yet been, our attention has not yet been molested by education and faulty education and manipulation. As we grow up, it becomes corrupt. And nobody's fault. Our parents don't know any better, because the same thing has been done to them. So, and then we have the teachers who have history books that are all wrong. They have biology books that teach us that are all wrong. Medical schools teach what all wrong. Whoever donates the most money to university gets to say what people will learn in the university. And who has the most money? It's the pharmaceutical, big pharma, the cabal, and all those wonderful Rockefeller, Rothschild related, not to mention any names. You know, so that's happened in every aspect of life. So why wouldn't it happen in spirituality?
Yeah.
There's so much of it. We see it all the time. We get students that have such a hard time departing from the concepts, spiritual concepts that they've learned. And what's the way, I'm just trying to use this as a metaphor, just as in medicine, they've tried to make the body of lesser importance. They completely ignore the immune system, which is a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
What other thing in the world can repair itself? An airplane can't repair itself. You know, we think, oh, airplane, you know, nothing can repair itself. The human body can repair itself.
Yeah.
It's run by the universal intelligence. There is nothing greater than that. Or we can call it God, you can call it universe, you can call it consciousness, whatever you want to call it, but that is like, for lack of a better word, words are terrible when you come to talk about this. It's you can say it's the highest, or it's before everything else, before energy, before everything. And that's what we have in our body. That is who we are, and that is denied on every level.
Yeah.
In medicine, they've denied it. They don't acknowledge the immune system. They laugh at it. It's considered a conspiracy theory to even talk about your immune system. And they give you all these injections. Now in spirituality, they've done the same thing. They deny the body. They talk about it, you know, I'm not the body, I'm not the body, I'm not the body. They deny the body. And it's all mind-based.
Yeah.
So that is one of the problems. The other thing is there are teachers that have awakened. Something happened to them, whether it's through tragedy, shock, whatever it is. Those are the ones who talk about it spontaneously happens. Either it happens or it doesn't happen. There's nothing to do, because that's what happened to them.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah.
And they go on talking about it as if this is how it is.
Right. Yeah.
You either get it or you don't get it. It either happens to you or it doesn't happen to you, because that's how it happened to them. And they speak about their lofty state. And you know, people come and they hear it, and for some people, there are, as you can see today, a lot of people believe anything.
Yeah.
As I did. You know, and especially if somebody's charismatic and they have these glow in their eyes and they say, oh,
Yeah.
the highest self, you don't exist, this is amazing. I've heard it all, and it's very impressive. And if you consider yourself separate from that, or you consider yourself less than that because you haven't had that experience, you might start worshiping that person or following them.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're lucky, one day you realize, oh, well, that's nice for him or her, but what am I, chopped liver?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But and they don't necessarily mean bad. I'm not saying that they're all liars or bad. I think a lot of them, of those kind of teachers, don't know how to teach it. There's no precedence for this. There isn't a school or a book. Every book that talks about it, that's all they do is talk about it.
Yeah.
Research, they quote Ramana Maharshi, which, by the way, happened many years ago. It's not even applicable anymore. He spoke to an Indian crowd a long time ago. I don't read it because it doesn't apply to me. I live here now in the West, and at this moment, it's very different than it was then.
Yes.
And even then, reading about his experience is great, but I wanted a teacher that would show me how I can do it, how I can be there. You know, one of the worst things of my last teacher before I met Gabor, I was in agony because I was dependent on being in the presence of my teacher to feel any kind of peace or anything that I called not mind, but it still was mind. So, and I wanted to find it for myself, not rely on somebody else's experience.
Well, actually, Nurit, there's one, I don't want to name names, but there's one particular teacher who's quite well known, and I've only seen 3 videos of his work, and one of the things he said was that if a teacher gives you a process, so like giving a child sweets, so trying to pacify you, you can't teach this. And I thought it almost sounded a bit aggressive. And I thought, oh, I'm glad I wasn't sat there, because I would have, you know, but if you walk out, it's because you're not ready. And I thought it's quite, it's not got a lot of compassion behind it, has it?
It doesn't, because, but they just don't know.
Right.
It's like a doctor today says, well, you've got kidney failure and there's nothing, medicine can't help you anymore. There's nothing that medicine can do for you. But that doesn't mean that I've known people who with natural ways have cured kidney problems.
Yeah.
Just because a doctor doesn't know how, doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And there are teachers that just don't have the background and just don't know, and they haven't taken the time to develop techniques and to figure out ways that other people could learn it as well.
Yeah.
See, I mean, even Eckhart Tolle, he's got a huge following and he's great. There's no question about it. He didn't have a spiritual background.
No.
Oh, he had depression, and all of a sudden, bang, he woke up one night because it was so bad. It pushed him to the edge and he woke up. But he didn't know how to teach it.
No.
And what he did is he read afterwards, he read a lot of spiritual books and adopted all kinds of things. And that's what he teaches. But what happened to Gabor is he also woke up as a result of depression.
Yeah.
But he felt that people do not have to go through that. Plus, who's to say who's going to be depressed or not? What if you're never depressed? What if you don't have a truck run over you? Like, what if you don't have a tragedy that will wake you up, you know?
I think I saw a video with Gabor, and what I really liked was that he was saying something about if somebody says to you, this is you, and do this, that, and that, and then you'll get it. He said, don't put it in time. Almost, if you know that it can be processes and modalities, but he wasn't saying that you have to follow a path and then you'll get it. It's like it's here.
Exactly.
And I found that so refreshing, because it's taking that, you know, pay for this course, you'll get it. Come to my ashram, you'll get it. It's kind of just, yeah, it's there.
Yeah. It's kind of a bit of a paradox.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be surprising, because this is not logical. We call it nonsense. It's not
yeah.
But yes, you already are that, of course, and it's already here and all that. But in order to access it, there are certain practices that it would be very useful to adapt and to practice and to develop certain skills so that you can access it, so that you can activate it within you. And it doesn't require time, and it's certainly, not only does it not require your mind, your mind is the main hindrance to it. And one very simple way that Gabor explains it is, this is the horizontal line, this is the past, and you're hoping for something in the future, and you go along and you take this course or that course or that course or this book, you read this, and sometimes you read very, very beautiful statements, and you say, now I know, now I get it. Who is saying that? The mind. The mind has a temporary relief, a aha moment. It thinks that it realized something, and it gives its self-image a nice recess from life, a nice pause, and it feels peaceful. So it thinks that piece is it, that it found it. And a lot of teachings do that. You sit in front of a teacher, Lord knows, I've sat in front of teachers and felt all blissed out, and woohoo, and had Kundalini experiences, seeing lights and hearing sounds and the whole kit and caboodle. But that's all it is, a kit and caboodle. What Gabor has developed, so that you don't have to go through a tragedy, is the technique to leap out of this completely. So it's no longer in time.
Yes.
You see, the problem is that even people that come to Gabor, they're so addicted to this. It's like a Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
Mind has trapped us, our attention, our manipulated, programmed attention has trapped us into all these moments that we felt good because a certain teacher said something that we liked or we read something.
Yes.
So, and those statements and those chanting or meditation or whatever it is that we did made us feel good. It feels like friends. We don't want to leave them. But that's not where permanent peace is.
Yeah.
That's not where the true silence is. For that, you have to leave out completely. And there is a way to do it.
Why do you think, Nurit, that a lot of teachers are going for the Kundalini awakening? Why do you think? See, that's something I've never followed and I haven't looked at. I don't know about it really. I've heard a few people say they've been ill of it, but it seems like if I hear someone like even Gabor, that he had those experiences, but they didn't last. They didn't do anything.
They don't last, and they're, first of all, they're temporary, and second,
Right.
they're experiences. We're not after an experience. Those experiences are very tantalizing. They're very exciting, but true awakening has got nothing to do with that.
Right. Okay.
That's all here. It's all to keep you here. It's the mind created. The mind created so many traps for us. The mind does not want us to leap out of it because then it's not in control.
Right. Okay.
The mind wants to take all the credit. The mind wants us to have a nice self-image of a spiritual person. The mind wants us to change our behavior and be more compassionate and forgiving and all the nice things that spirituality tells us. Why? It keeps us in the game. It keeps us in this game. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm so proud of myself. I'm doing so much good. And then now I'm becoming a better person. And now I'm working on my emotions. And now I'm doing this. And one day my mind will be so pure. Bullshit. You know, I know hundreds of people, thousands of people from all the different paths that I've been on. I don't know one who's got it. I don't, myself included. And I've done everything. I don't do anything half-assed. When I was in the ashram, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I was very disciplined. I chanted, I meditated, I did everything. I listened to my teacher, followed everything that they said, the other teacher as well, all my teachers, I followed everything. It's always a future promise for some kind of something that will happen in the future. If you do this, there are no conditions.
Do you think that the people, because I've heard your story quite a few times because I really enjoyed hearing your journey, do you think that they thought they got it, that like to them they thought this is it? You said it was Dr. Mills and was it Swami Muktanand? Yeah. Do you think they did think I've got it, but there was quite a discord in the personal life, you said, that was running parallel to this, knowing that didn't a juxtaposition?
I think their mind tricked him into thinking that. My ex-husband was like that too. He thought he got it. He believed he got it. He behaved as if he got it. But I never believed he did. But you know, it's not for me to say where they are at. But if their experience is their experience, and I don't know what someone else's experience is. But if you're going to teach it, you have to be very careful because you're poisoning people's minds and giving them false hope or false information. Just like, look at the confusion with health today. Is vitamin D good for you? Is it bad for you? Is vegan good for you, or paleo is better for you? Or should I be keto or should I be shmito? We don't know anymore. You read anything about any of these diets or health stuff, and they're all very convincing, and you don't know what's right. You don't know what.
No, you don't.
And it's the same in spirituality. Am I everything or am I nothing? Do I exist or don't I exist? That's not even a question. We don't even deal with the higher self, the lower self, the in the middle self. What? Those are all concepts. This is mind-based concepts. We don't deal with that. We go out of it completely. And then when we access, I mean, if you have a problem or a question or anything that you want to know or learn, where would you go to get that information? Why wouldn't you go to the higher consciousness? Where would you find that higher consciousness?
Yeah.
It's in the body. And when people say look within, turn within, they don't know what they're saying. And they don't know, and the people don't know what that means. I didn't know. I heard it for years. Look within, look within. Within what? Within what? And most people, the concept of looking within, they think that it's looking at your emotions, at your inner world, your thoughts, examining your thoughts, observing, being the witness. Oh my God, that's not what we call within. That's not within. Within means inside, feeling the body, which is run by the universal intelligence, by the higher consciousness runs the body. If you feel, you're able to feel the body physically. And this is where so many people get trapped, and as I did as well, because we're in spirituality, we're taught, or it's implied at least, that everything physical that you can touch or feel or tangible or see with your senses is not real. It's matter.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all matter. And what isn't matter? Something that's not tangible, that you can't see.
Yes.
Thoughts, emotions, feelings, my frequency, my energy, my aura, blah, 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 blah. All those, that must be that must be the inner world, because it's not out there. So that must be, but that's not what we're talking about when we talk about going within. And the body is certainly not just matter. It couldn't possibly exist without that universal consciousness. How does it fix itself? Talk about the immune system. How does it fix itself?
Yeah, I found that when you said there's the intelligence, to almost surrender to that, it knows, and like the body. And like I said, the teachings that I'd looked at only, a couple of weeks ago were saying that it's meaningless. There is no intelligence. It just, and I said, and it was really depressing to think, because like you said, the body can heal, and there does seem guidance somehow and an intelligence that isn't from the mind. But I don't think, maybe it's because they couldn't articulate it, they were sort of skewing it like, oh, nothing's real, but we know there's more going on.
It's like doctors don't know what's going on in the body, so they don't bother to say anything because they just don't know.
Exactly.
If you're a teacher and you're teaching mind-based teachings, you also don't know. You say, the body, it's unbelievable. My first teacher called it a shit factory.
Nice.
Thanks a lot. But the fact is, if you think of it only as matter, well, why can't the chair fix itself? Why can't my apartment fix itself? If the paint is falling off, why can't it fix itself? A body can fix itself. That in itself, to me, is such a miracle. But look how they're trying to cover that up. It's the same thing within spirituality. They don't want you to acknowledge the body. The body's introduced to us when we're born as a liability. Something hurts, or they're teething, then this happens and that happens. We interpret it as bad, as pain. And then we say, oh, but there's a spirit inside you. There's a spirit. What do they call spirit? It's a psychic realm. It's emotions. It's your feelings. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about leaping out of it entirely. And from that place, you can deal with your emotions. We're not disregarding anything. Nothing is excluded If nothing is excluded, you can't say that you don't exist. Nothing is excluded. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
So from that place, once you've activated that that universal intelligence within you, and once you have access to that, from there you can deal with your emotions. With nothing to deal with you, but you can embrace them and dissolve them even. You can solve your life problems. It could do anything from that place. Anything you do in life, if it comes from that place, it's very different. And the peace that you find and the silence that you find is permanent. And you can access it anytime once you develop that skill to do that. And that's what.
Do you think, Nurit, that a lot of people that they experience this frequently, but there's a quick reversion, like from the mind will quickly be reverted to say, well, that wasn't that great. That's not it. You know, like, because it's maybe going through like a bliss state, these kind of awakenings, rather than sort of that peace sort of feel, like the mind doesn't want kind of that feeling.
The mind doesn't want us to go within. The mind doesn't want to have anything to do with the body or because that is where the universal intelligence is. And once our attention is brought into that, it no longer has control over our attention. It's no longer, our attention is freed from the programming. The mind doesn't like that because it can't participate, it can't control, it can't take the credit for anything, not for the peace or not for any experience, because it's no longer in the realm of experience. It's silence. Silence is silence. It's not an experience. It's not a frequency. It's not an energy. It's not a concept. It's not any of the things that they talk about.
No.
The mind doesn't like that. It wants to participate. It's done the protection work for us since the day we were introduced to the mind. And from the day that our parents told us, think before you speak, think before you focus on what you're doing and all of that. So, and it starts to develop a Stockholm Syndrome. Now we're addicted to the mind, and it is our big protector. It is what leads us. It is what teaches us. All of a sudden, you tell it, okay, now forget the programmed attention and take your attention and feel the inner body. Feel the body to the point that you can activate the universal intelligence within you. The mind doesn't like it a bit. And it'll do everything it can to get you out of it. And that's why that is the role of the teacher, to help the student see where the mind is tripping them and where the mind is taking them back to past teachings that never served them anything, but became their friend, supposedly because it gave them a temporary relief with a wonderful temporary aha moment.
You know, Nurit, I found it when I listened to your story, and I've listened to it so many times, and there was a point when you said before you met Gabor after a 2.5 year gap, and you said you pulled over your car and you instinctively did what he'd done. You went, I'm going into body, I feel. And then an intelligence took over where you could see what was in front of you. Yeah. And I thought, so you're kind of saying that worked, what Gabor was doing, didn't you? Yes. Was it that you said you went into body, but I just feel?
Yes, it wasn't the real, it was a lower level, so to speak. It was like an beginning of it. But the point is, I'm so glad you brought that up, because very few people pick that up. The point that is so important, and that was so crucial for me, is because it was only when I let go, how should I say it? I no longer allowed my mind to take over. At that moment, when I met Gabor, I made a promise to myself not to think, just to be, and just I didn't even know what that meant, but I was determined, no thinking. And
just on instinct. You just remember you said you pulled your car over. You just like, I feel. No, I refuse. Like, no, I feel. Yeah.
Right. That 10 minutes prepared me, and that's when I made the decision not to think when I meet him, and that's when I recognized who he is, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know how to call it. I didn't know his teaching at all. He didn't really have much. He was teaching people to go into their body, but there weren't the techniques that he has today.
Yes.
He has so many more techniques, even unconscious TV, which you saw, it was great, but since then he's developed so much more.
Yes.
Evolving and evolving. Every course that he teaches, even if it's the basics, it's deeper and deeper and more clear and more clear and more clear, because he's aware of the unclarity. He's so aware of how the teachers try to make it so mysterious and unattainable.
Yes, yeah. But I just found it so strange how you'd done like an element of it, and what it brought up, what you could see, and very quickly, because it was, I think you said it was like instantaneous, like that evening you'd had that experience of going, the body was like, oh, that's it. Just that pulling back into yourself had done it. But I did think, oh, it's quite strange how you'd done an element of what he was teaching instinctively or intuitively.
Yeah, well, I was very aware that it was my mind that was keeping me, because I recognized something in him, but it terrified me because I knew that's the end of the line. I was addicted to searching. That was my Stockholm Syndrome. I was addicted to the search. And I knew that I felt intuitively that being with him would mean the end of the search. And I didn't want the search to end. My mind liked the search.
Oh, right. Like addicted to the seeking. Yeah.
The seeking. I want to seek, and what's about this and what about that? And it's hard not to, because there's so many courses and books and everything. You think you found it, but then there's another book and another book and another teacher. And you think, well, whoa. Where do I start? Where does it end? You know, so I found all these excuses of why I didn't like him. But I really felt very connected to him. I mean, all along. But look what happened. Because of my mind, I had to wait for 2.5 years till I was with him again.
Yeah.
And it took that moment of resolve. Okay, I'm just, whatever he says, whatever happens, is fine. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to put everything that I know on the back burner. And, you know, the funny thing is, we see that with Gabor students so many times. People that can do that and put what they learned before on the back burner, get it like that. There are some people, they come to a class and they're in. Poof. They talk like Buddhas. You know, they're amazing. Some of them talk just like Eckhart Tolle. If you get it, it's 100% success. There's no a little bit of enlightenment, you know. Like you can't be a little bit pregnant, you know.
I know what you mean.
Is you is or is you ain't, my baby, you know. So that's and those who can't do that, who consistently compare it to what they learned before and try to put it on top of what they learned before, because obviously they come to him because they haven't found it, or they wouldn't be coming to him. Something is missing. So they think, okay, I've got this teaching, I'm already here, I'll bring that over here, and then that will make it complete. But it's not in the same realm. You can't do that. You know, it's not on the same page, it's not even in the same library. It's out of this completely, whereas what they think they're going to add to is in the mind, is and this is time here, past, present.
Do a lot of people not like that? So say, you know, you've got to be a clean slate, don't come in with you're teaching from this, you're teaching from that. Does that cause a lot of sort of people thinking that they're sort of at the University of Spirituality? So, well, I know all this, so this is just a cherry on the top kind of feeling, when you're like, oh no, we've got to go.
This is awakening from spirituality. Spirituality, most of spirituality is a hoax. It's
Right,
there
yeah.
to grab your mind and make you spin around and spin around and spin around in all these questions. Do I exist? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? It's that's not what it's about.
Mm.
I don't ask who am I? I don't look for a higher self or a lower self. I turn my attention to where the universal intelligence is through the body. The body isn't God. The body is the door to God.
Yeah.
The door. By allowing my attention to focus on the inner body, we can do it right now if you want. Let's say,
Yes. Yeah.
take the hand, for example. It's visible, so I can't show you my feet right now. But say any body part would do. I take my hand and I feel the physicality of it. I'm not thinking about the hand. I'm not imagining the hand. I'm actually feeling the physicality of it from inside the hand.
Mm.
And that's all I do. That is it. And that's all I do. And I'm feeling it and feeling it and feeling it. And I just wait. I just be with it and feel it. While I'm feeling it, of course, if a thought comes, I go back to this, go back to it, go back to it. Gabor also has different exercises. I won't go into all of it now, but to how to deal with the thoughts that come up. Sometimes we just chuckle them out, go like that, to shock them out. He calls it interrupting the interrupter. But I go back to the hand. And once you do this for a while and you practice it and you don't rush to anything, you don't compare it to, oh, but this is not like what I felt yesterday, or this is not like what the other teacher told me. Or if you just do that, just like I did in the car, no thought, no background, everything out, everything in the back burner. You can go back to it once you're enlightened if you want to, but you probably won't want to. Just feel it and feel it. At some point, the door will open. That door opens for everybody who does this, providing the mind doesn't interrupt. And that's what the teacher is for, to help you by proxy, to help you not allow the mind to interrupt. And he'll point out where the mind is interrupting and give you other techniques to stop the mind from interrupting. That's all it's about. Is to
I think the mind is very dismissive, isn't it? The mind seems very dismissive so that it won't, to stay relevant to you, I suppose, isn't it? It's very like, oh, well, that's just, but you can feel it. And the funniest, the more you go in the body, it seems to be there quicker, this sensation of in the body.
Yes.
Doesn't it? It almost seems where you've left it, doesn't it, when you've got that sensation? But it almost seems so easy that you almost think the mind will go, that can't.
Yeah.
Can't be it.
Yeah, that's what
but then you were in it. Yeah.
But it's also important to know that feeling of the body part is the preliminary step. There's a lot more that comes afterwards, because that's learning how to activate. That's how you develop a skill to activate that your ability to access the intelligence of the body. And if later on, if you keep working with Gabor, you learn how to master it. And that, I'm not going to get into that right now because it's a huge subject, but that's basically learning how to use that consciousness and your being to affect your life, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot more to it, but right now we're kind of scratching the surface.
But to go there first, to put the focus in, and not that your body is in a field of awareness, that in your body. So a lot of people speak your body's in awareness. You kind of go outwards, aren't you, to put it in the feeling of in your hands.
The actual physicality, this is what people don't want to hear. They don't want to physical. No, physical is matter. It's matter. Yeah, what does it matter? If it's matter, It's the attention on even on the physicality of the body will take you to what's behind it, to what's underneath it, to what makes this alive. And I don't know, I don't get how people, and I was there too, so I understand, but how did I not see it? The body is alive. Matter isn't, what matter around us is as alive as this, and can talk and walk and all the organs, what they do. It's an unbelievable piece of machinery that's totally conscious, totally alive. And we call it a shit factory? Come on. You know, I was so.
Who said that? Oh, it was. I remember you saying that was the Dr. Mills. Yeah, was it? Yeah, it was someone.
No, the Baba Muktananda.
Oh,
the other teacher called it. He said, salt, chalk, water, protoplasm, and slime all slung together in a bag of time.
Ooh, that's nice. I've not seen that on quotes on Google, so I don't know if it's.
No, you won't see that. Yeah.
No.
And I didn't know that I was in the mind. I didn't know that the teaching that I thought I was transcending the mind, because all the quotes that I've memorized and recited over and over again were all about transcending the mind.
Yeah.
No, it's like if you memorize a menu, it doesn't mean that you filled your tummy.
It's too much content. The mind loves content, doesn't it? Processes, so it'll go a bit, sort of busy with it, won't it? So I don't think, no, I can see what you mean, that the body, because otherwise it wouldn't work. I mean, you spoke about one of them of the manifestation, the Abrahamics, and you said it's too much with the mind. And an interview I saw with you, which I thought was really great, your answer, you said the mind's too bipolar to manifest. Like, people are like, nothing's happening, it's something, and I thought that's so true, that really you're better just doing what you're saying, and you don't need, there's not the same, is there? There's not the urgency. But yeah, when you said it's bipolar, I thought that's true. I wouldn't be able to manifest anything. I'd be arguing in my mind, and this is where you feel pulled towards. So yeah,
the people try to manifest with the mind because there's all these books about it. There's Abraham Hicks and there's Schmicks and there's everybody talking about manifestation and the secret and all of that. And sure, you can have a temporary something or other, but the mind, if you're going about manifestation with your mind, you're creating both the positive and the negative, because it's bipolar. It thinks that way. You want something because you don't have it. So in that thought or template that you have, that you want to manifest something, you have both. We don't do that. We totally sidestep the mind. We sidestep it. We leap out of it completely. And from that place, when you manifest something, it'll last.
That's a really different sort of teaching on it. So people are going to manifestation first, when really it should be a byproduct of really going into what the space of, like you said, out of the mind.
Exactly. Exactly. Very good. You really get this. It's amazing.
I do get this. I've watched a lot of your videos, and it resonates more. I think it's got it's got, like I said, that humanitarian compassion, but it's simple but profound, and I like that. I like that it's still relatable for me of where I'm at. But it's, I realise that yes, I do get it, probably more than I thought.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, actually, Nurit, I don't know. I've kept you on nearly an hour.
What's that?
It's been nearly an hour. I don't know how long we should have been on the call.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It's for videos, I like to do it a little under an hour, because people don't have attention spans like they used to.
I was going to ask you, actually, I did see, just quickly before it runs out, I'll look at the hour mark. Okay. I watched, I think it's one of the latest videos with you, and it was, I don't know the lady, I think she's called Elena. And she was saying, she just made a comment and I don't think you gave a response, but she was saying, so what he's doing is yoga. And I didn't think it was.
So what?
But she said that what she felt Gabor was teaching was yoga on a very fundamental level. And you didn't give a response, but I thought, is it? I didn't.
I don't remember that. It's funny.
Yeah, she just said, so it's yoga. It's actual yoga. And I was like, oh, is it yoga?
Well,
I don't know.
you can call it anything, but the thing is, what it really is an awakening from all these spiritual dreams. Spirituality is a dream just like any other dream. And we have to awaken from everything. It's a complete leap out of spirituality.
Yes, actually that really makes sense. Once we put a label on, we're pulling back down.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right, that's fine. I'm
Yeah.
glad I asked that, because I did think yoga is it? I don't know yoga. So yeah. So a label, really, we're going a bit more in the mind.
Everybody wants to call it something, but it's
What can you do?
Yeah.
I have to say, Nurit, it's been so lovely to speak to you.
Likewise.
And it's so nice to speak to you, because I've seen your interviews and your videos, yours and Gabor's. It's so lovely to connect with you, and hopefully I'll be in touch, and maybe I'd like to do some of Gabor's sort of his workshops are online, but I'll message you about that. But I hope if this goes on YouTube, they see the video, because I think a lot of people had similar questions that I've got. That are really, I've seen this, what do I do? And you've actually clarified, I think, what I knew deep down anyway, but it's lovely to hear.
Oh, that's wonderful. We can do it anytime. We can do it again. And
I'll probably have loads of more questions or anything, but
sure. Write them down and we'll do another one like this. And I believe next year we'll have a course happening, an online course.
Right, okay. Well, I've looked at the website, so yeah, I'll definitely look at that. But yeah, I'd email. I just think it's been absolutely lovely to speak to you, so thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for reaching out.
All right.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, I'll keep in touch. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.